Welcome to my podcast, The Strange and the Unexplained. In today's episode, I will be discussing the topic of Charles Manson and his cult. Charles Manson, as some of you may know, started a cult called the Manson family. What was Charles's childhood like? Well, Charles Manson was born on the 12th of November 1934. When he was first born, his mother named him No Name Maddox. Manson's mother spent 5 years in prison during Charles's younger years, and she tried to put Manson in a boarding school. However, Charles got into petty crimes in his teens. Throughout Charles's whole life, he had been in and out of prisons for charges on robbery, rape, and domestic violence. Charles was very interested in music. He wanted to be a successful and famous musician, and he idolised the Beatles and the Beach Boys. Charles even lived with Dennis Wilson and helped write a song for the Beach Boys, Never Learn Not to Love.
I'm your kind, and I see. Come on, you're a pretty girl.
Charles believed in Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter is Charles Manson's race war, an apocalyptic war arising from racial tensions between the blacks and the whites. Helter Skelter is also a song made by the Beatles, which Charles Manson idolised, which is also a very interesting connection.
Tell me the answer. You may be a lover, but you ain't no dancer. Helter Skelter.
In his opinion, the murders he had planned would speed up this war, as he was hoping to blame the murders on black people, which he believed would start a race war. However, it didn't. An interesting member of the Manson family cult was Tex Watson. Tex was born on the 2nd of December 1945. He assisted the woman of the Manson family cult that killed 7 people. He was kind of like Charles's wingman for murders. On August 9th, 1969, Watson and the other Manson followers murdered a pregnant actress, Sharon Tate, and 4 other people. I think Charles targeted an actress because he was jealous of her successful career, and Manson was never a successful musician. Within the cult, Charles controlled the other members through the use of LSD drugs. Another reason why he had so much control over the women within his cult is because he preyed on women with so-called daddy issues. Whether their dad had left them or there had been family problems, the women felt like they needed to fill an emptiness, which Charles did. They felt loved by him, even though he was a crazy killer.
I ran her down and I began to stab her. Yeah, I remember her saying, "I'm already dead."
The post-murders. Both Charles and Tex Watson were originally sentenced to death. However, they both ended up getting life in prison as the death penalty was abolished. Charles Manson never actually killed anyone. He always got other people to do his dirty work. Within the cult, he got the women to commit the murders, with Tex watching over them, which just goes to show how much control he really had over them. In the court trials, Manson continued to control the women in the cult. He would talk to them before they would go into the courtroom and get the 3 girls to hold hands or to all say the same thing at the same time. He instructed them on what to do, and they did it. Charles Manson died in prison on the 19th of November 2017. He was aged 83. However, just before he died in 2014, he got married to a 26-year-old fan while he was still in prison.
Because I love him, and I've got half a brain that I can see that he is the one that knows what's going on. He's the one that is in the truth, whenever nobody else is. Charlie always tells the truth, no matter what. Charlie is all about Atwa, which is air, trees, water, animals. And he's been talking about it for over 40 years. And none of the TV shows have ever picked that up. I don't know why.
My one question is, why would anyone want to marry Charles Manson? He was a psychopath and just had a lot of issues. What do you think drove him to start a cult? Was it because he never had a family and that was his only way he thought he could gain a family? Or was it something deeper? Thank you for listening to this episode of The Strange and the Unexplained. Charles Manson.